Recall in Excel, cells are located by column and row references. And it's important when we're using and working with Excel, particularly when we start copying formulas and copying cells, that we know the distinction between relative and absolute cell references. When we copy a cell in Excel, the column and row headings will change by a single column if we copy it over one column. They'll change by 2 if we copy it over 2 columns, and 3 if we copy it over 3 columns, and so on. The same thing is true when we copy rows down. Let's illustrate that building a multiplication table. So equals 1 times 1. So we've got B13 times A14. Now when I take that and I copy it across and I copy it down, notice here we were B13 and A14. We were 1 up and to the left. Wherever I go into my table right now, I also have a formula that does what? Multiplies the cells 1 above and 1 to the left. 1 above and 1 to the left. This is a relative cell reference. To turn it into an absolute cell reference, we would want to put dollar signs in front of both the rows and the columns. And once again, we can do that by hitting the F4 key if you've got a PC platform computer, or you can type them in manually. Now that I've anchored and I have both an absolute cell reference to cell B13 and A14, if I copy that down and across, no matter where I go on the worksheet, it is referring to cells A13 and A14 and B13. That is what we refer to as an absolute cell reference. Now let's go ahead and see what happens when we alternate some of these anchorings. So let's go ahead and anchor the columns only. So in front of the letters, and if I only anchor the columns, and now I copy that down and across. In this case, notice I'm always going to column A, and I'm always also going a relative cell reference 1 row above. If, on the other hand, I had anchored only the columns, and copied that down, or anchored the rows rather, now I'm always going to the proper row, but the incorrect column. So in building this multiplication table, we want to make sure, since we're always going up to row B13, we're going to want to anchor the 13, and we always want to come back to column A, so we want to anchor the reference to the A. So let's go to our formula. We've got the anchor in front of the 13, because we always want to come to that. And for our other one, we want the dollar sign in front of the column, or the A, because we always want to come to column A. Now we can copy that down and across. And we can see what we have when we have a mixture of both absolute and relative cell references. This will be important as you go ahead next and build your future value function table using Excel functions, using formulas, and then also as you build your present value function tables.